Guys, Bloomberg is reporting that Sam Bankman-Fried is being investigated by the US SEC for potential violations of securities rules. What I don't like about the SEC is that they don't have any kind of clear guidance that they can give to projects who are trying to comply. Instead, they seem to just selectively litigate against projects without telling them what specifically they're doing wrong ahead of time to help them avoid that litigation. Anyway, about half a day ago, Sam Bankman-Fried came out with an apology for losing everybody's money. Now, as you would imagine, this apology probably is gonna fall flat, but here's the story and his apology as he wrote it. He says, "I'm sorry. That's the biggest thing. I fucked up. I should have done better. I also should have been communicating more very recently. Transparently, my hands were tied during the duration of the possible Binance deal. I wasn't particularly allowed to say much publicly, but of course, it's on me that we ended up there in the first place." So here's an update on where things are. This is all about FTX International, the non-US exchange. FTX US users are fine. Treat all of these numbers as rough. There are approximations here. FTX International currently has a total market value of asset/collateral higher than client deposits. But that's different from liquidity for delivery. As you can tell from the state of withdrawals, the liquidity varies wildly from very to very little. I think he means, I don't know what he means there, but it's probably mistyped. The full story here is one I'm still fleshing out every detail of, but at a very high level, I fucked up twice. The first time, a poor internal labeling of bank-related accounts meant that I was substantially off on my sense of users' margin. I thought it was way lower. My sense before, leverage 0 times USD liquidity ready to deliver 24x average daily withdrawals. The actual leverage 1.7x, liquidity 0.8x Sunday's withdrawals. Because of course, when it rains, it pours. We saw roughly 5 billion of withdrawals on Sunday, the largest by a huge margin. And so I was off twice. Okay, real quick pause. This all sounds like scapegoaty bullshit to me. I don't know about, does it sound like that to you guys? Let me know down in the comments, but it just sounds like he's trying to blame this all on a clerical error and not systemic practices of him taking user funds and sending them to Alameda for them to play poker with, essentially. Like they were he took your, if you deposited it on FTX, he took your funds that he assured you he wasn't lending and then lent them to Alameda for them to gamble with. And when everything was going up, it was fine, right? Alameda was making tons of money, hand over fist. It was giving it back. Users were able to deposit and withdraw their funds. Fine. But once prices started coming down consistently and Alameda was making bad bet after bad bet after bad bet, now it's a problem. It's a problem that other people saw, and he just got caught now and he wants to call it a bad labeling error? Nonsense to me. That's nonsense, but let's hear him out. Let's finish it out. And so I was off twice, which tells me a lot of things, both specifically and generally, that I was shit at. And a third time, in not communicating enough. I should have said more. I'm sorry. Yeah, you should have told people what you were doing. You should have let people who were putting their money and their trust in you know, hey, I'm lending this money out to Alameda for them to gamble with, and hopefully we'll get something back. Anyway, I was slammed with things to do and I didn't give updates to you all. And so we are where we are, which sucks, and that's on me. I'm sorry. Anyway, right now, my #1 priority by far is doing right by users. And I'm going to do everything I can to do that, to take responsibility and do what I can. So right now, we're spending the week doing everything we can to raise liquidity. I can't make any promises about that, but I'm going to try and give anything I have to if that will make it work. There are a number of players who we are in talks with, LOIs, term sheets, etc. We'll see how that ends up. Every penny of that and of the existing collateral will go straight to users unless or until we've done right by them. After that, investors, old and new, and employees who have fought for what's right for their career and who weren't responsible for any of the fuck-ups. Honestly, I don't want to cover the rest of this. This is just him explaining what he plans to do, which is nonsense because it's already come out that he is a liar. So why would you trust any of this? Like, what reason does anyone have to trust anything he says in any of this tweet? when a couple of days ago, when people were panicking and had the ability to get their money out of FTX, he came on and said what? Don't worry, FTX is fine, your funds are safe, you don't have to worry about anything, and then later on deleted the tweet and acts like none of that happened. He made a mistake. I didn't even have any money on FTX, but this pisses me off. Moving forward, right now Reuters is saying FTX is looking for 9.4 billion in rescue funds, and that the Bahamas is freezing some assets. FTX is scrambling to raise about 9.4 billion from investors and rivals, a source said on Thursday, as Chief Executive Sam Bankman-Fried urgently seeks to save the cryptocurrency exchange that has been buffeted by a rush of customer withdrawals. Bankman-Fried has discussed raising $1 billion each from Justin Sun, the co-founder of crypto token Tron, rival exchange OKX, and stablecoin platform Tether, according to the source who has direct knowledge of the matter. Now, whether or not any of that's true, that's about $3 billion, right? And just like with Binance, I'm sure that once OKX and Tether, possibly Tron, do their due diligence, they might walk away from this too, right? Because what possible gain could they get from taking on anything having to do with Sam Bankman-Fried? They're not talking about buying assets. I don't believe so, at least, right? Because the whole purpose of their dealings, is to try and get assets back to users. So it's about paying them for the platform, for FTX itself, or whatever else FTX is into. And I just don't see it. In other news, and this one's actually important if you use FTX US, so if you're in the US right now, they just announced that trading may be halted on FTX US in a few days. Please close down any positions you want to close down. Withdrawals are and will remain open. We will give updates as we have them. Now, this part right here where they say withdrawals are and will remain open, I don't believe that for a second. And if you do, I really hope you reconsider. They may have a plan to keep them open right now, but we see how these things spiral. Bankman-Fried himself said withdrawals will be fine. They have been processing withdrawals. They will keep processing withdrawals. And then within 24 hours, that was no longer true. You're grown. I'm assuming if you're listening to this channel, you're grown. Make your own decision. But me personally, if I had anything on FTX, either US or international, I wouldn't believe this for 1 second. And so guys, the dominoes keep falling. BlockFi, to my knowledge, is the first major lending platform that we're seeing suffer because of what FTX just did. Here they tweet, "We are shocked and dismayed by the news regarding FTX and Alameda. We, like the rest of the world, found out about this situation through Twitter. Given the lack of clarity on the status of FTX.com, FTX US, and Alameda, we are not able to operate business as usual. Our priority has been and will continue to be to protect our clients and their interests. Until there is further clarity, we are limiting platform activity, including pausing client withdrawals as allowed under our terms. We will share more specifics as soon as possible. We request that clients not deposit to BlockFi wallet or interest accounts at this time. We intend to communicate as frequently as possible going forward, but anticipate that this will be less frequent than what our clients and other stakeholders are used to." BlockFi, 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 BlockFi. Oof. Now, we don't know what's going on here yet. This has just been announced recently, but if I was to guess, I would assume that BlockFi lent out a bunch to either FTX or to Alameda or both. And now that FTX is going under, they can't recoup. And they probably didn't. It probably was not over collateralized. It was an under collateralized loan. And the trouble with under collateralized loans is if the party doesn't pay you back, you're screwed. And I think BlockFi is screwed. Oof, oof, oof. Anyway, that's all the news I got for you today, guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I hope and I pray for all of you that you're not involved in any of this mess. I know how much it sucks if you are. God willing, somehow you'll be able to get your money out. Even if I don't see it, hopefully there's a way. Stay safe, everybody. I will see you guys in the next video. And as always, we'll keep talking about how to get more coins.